Overview. Ready to meet the trickiest hero in Marvel Rivals? Loki isn't just the god of mischief. He's the king of mind games, turning every fight into a puzzle only he can solve. His kit is as confusing for enemies as it is challenging for you to master, blending healing, damage, and deception in ways that can completely flip the flow of battle. Loki's real strength, covering his team's weaknesses and adapting to whatever the enemy throws at you. Whether he's sending his illusions to ambush vulnerable targets or using them to shield allies in a pinch, his playstyle changes with every match. Positioning is everything. Where Loki and his clones strike next depends entirely on the enemy comp and their tactics. But here's the catch. Loki is arguably the hardest strategist in the game. His versatility and complexity mean only the most creative players can unlock his full potential. Master him though, and you'll be able to outsmart, outplay, and outmaneuver anyone, no matter the odds. Curious how Loki's magic really works, and why even veteran players fear him. Let's break down his abilities and see what makes this trickster the ultimate wildcard in Marvel Rivals. Mystical Missile. Loki's main attack, Mystical Missile, fires an energy shot that heals teammates and damages enemies. When the missile lands, it creates a small magic field. If both allies and enemies are close together in that spot, Loki can heal and hurt at the same time. The missile itself doesn't do any damage when it hits. It's the spell field that deals damage and gives healing. That's why it's smart to aim at the ground near your target's feet. You'll either hit their hitbox or the ground, and the area effect will activate anyway. To get the most out of Mystical Missile, try to target groups where enemies and allies are close together. This way, you'll charge your ultimate faster by getting both healing and damage at once. Keep in mind, Loki's main attack is pretty slow, so it's tough to hit fast or small targets. It's better to focus on bigger, slower enemies like vanguards. At ranges of 2.5 meters or more, Loki only does half his maximum damage. His clones do much more damage up close. But if you're farther away, it doesn't matter if your target is 10 or 100 meters away. The damage stays the same, so you can try to snipe from a distance. Healing works the same for both close and far teammates. Deception. Loki's secondary fire, Deception, lets him leave behind an illusion of himself and turn invisible. While invisible, Loki slowly heals over time. He can stay invisible as long as he wants. Unless he attacks, shooting will break the invisibility. You can reload, use Devious Exchange, or create a Doppelganger without losing your invisibility. The main reason to go invisible is to give yourself time to reload, heal up, or move to a better spot without enemies shooting at you. If you need to cross the fight safely, use Deception to go invisible and keep Devious Exchange ready in case you need to swap places. You can even make new illusions and swap with them while staying invisible. Just remember, enemies can still hear your footsteps, so being invisible doesn't mean you can sneak up on people without making noise. Regeneration Domain. Loki's Regeneration Domain is a powerful move where he calls up a runestone in the air, creating a healing field around himself and his illusions. Anyone standing near Loki or his illusions gets a ton of healing every second. This magic field also takes 30% of the damage your teammates receive and turns it into more healing, helping everyone survive longer. Regeneration Domain is super strong and can save your team from huge attacks, even enemy ultimates. For a short time, it can make an ally almost impossible to kill, letting them pull off crazy plays. For example, when the Punisher uses his ultimate, he can't be stunned or stopped, so the only way to deal with him is to take him out. If you use Regeneration Domain on him while he's ulting, he becomes nearly unstoppable. Loki doesn't always have a defensive ultimate ready, so Regeneration Domain is mainly used as a reaction to enemy ultimates. Like, if Psylocke uses her ultimate, Regeneration Domain can keep your whole team alive if they're inside the healing area. But keep in mind, this ability has a long 30-second cooldown. That means after you use it, the enemy team has a big window to attack. knowing you can't save your team again right away. It's best to save Regeneration Domain for those clutch moments when you or your teammates are about to go down. Backstab. Loki's melee attack, Backstab, is when he pulls out a knife and quickly stabs an enemy. It does a little extra damage if he hits someone from behind, but the extra damage is very small, just 15 points. This makes the ability not very useful, and you usually don't want to be in a position where you can backstab someone anyway. Doppelganger. Doppelganger is Loki's most important ability by far. When you use it, Loki creates a stationary clone of himself that aims at whatever Loki is aiming at, as long as both have line of sight to the target. You can have up to 2 clones at once. If you try to make a third, the oldest one disappears. These clones work just like Loki himself. They shoot mystical missiles and use Regeneration Domain with the same damage and healing as the real Loki. This means you can double or even triple your healing and damage output, cover more ground, and surprise enemies with burst damage if you line up your shots. Clones are also great for distracting the enemy. They force opponents to choose between shooting at the clones, which leaves them open to your team, or ignoring them and risking extra damage and healing from Loki. It's a classic split attention trick. But be careful. Bad clone placement can backfire. For example, Moon Knight can use your clones to bounce his crescent darts and moon blades for easy kills, turning your healing zone into a danger zone. Winter Soldier can also refresh his Kraken impact by destroying a clone, letting him keep his rampage going during his ultimate. Your illusions will copy your abilities no matter where you are on the map. Even if you're in spawn, you can activate Regeneration Domain or shoot mystical missiles through your clones from anywhere. So if you know you have a clone near the fight, keep firing as you return from spawn for extra healing or damage. For the best results, put your illusions on high ground or off to the sides to create different angles of attack. You can also quickly set up 2 behind the enemy's back line to burst down key targets like strategists, or just create chaos in the enemy team. Devious Exchange. Devious Exchange is Loki's main escape tool and one of his strongest abilities. When you use it, Loki instantly swaps places with his nearest clone. As long as it's within 30 meters, you don't need to be looking at your clone or have line of sight. If the ability is available, you can use it. This makes it smart to leave a clone behind you as a backup escape route in case things go wrong. You can also use Devious Exchange to quickly move to a better spot if you need a new angle. If there are no clones in range, the ability will be grayed out and you can't use it. Devious Exchange is Loki's best way to get out of danger, and it's even more effective if you combine it with invisibility, making it much easier to escape enemy attacks or reposition safely. God of Mischief. God of Mischief is Loki's most unusual ultimate. When you use it, Loki can transform into any hero in the match, either from his own team or the enemy team. As soon as he changes form, he gets that hero's ultimate, ready to use right away. With this ability, Loki has 2 main options. He can copy a duelist or vanguard to jump into the enemy team and cause chaos with their ultimate, or he can copy a strategist to use a support ultimate and help his own team survive. Both choices can be really strong, especially since enemies might get confused trying to keep track of which ultimates are still available. But be careful. If you turn into a duelist or vanguard, your team loses their healer for as long as you're transformed. Also, if you get KO'd while you're transformed, you don't get a second chance. So don't rush in or try to transform while you're under attack. When to use offensively, you want to use an offensive ult copy, like Groot's, in 2 situations. When the offensive ultimate can win the fight right away, especially after the enemy has already used their defensive ult to stop your team's first push. To force the enemy to use their defensive ult, giving your team a chance to follow up and wipe them out. If your offensive ult doesn't end the fight, cancel the copy fast because your team will be in trouble without your healing. When to use defensively, you can also use God of Mischief to copy a defensive ultimate, like Luna Snow's, to keep your team alive or stall the objective. It's perfect for countering a big enemy ultimate, like Spider-Man's spectacular spin, and making sure your team survives. Tips: only copy heroes you know how to play, so you aren't lost looking for the right buttons during a fight. Always double-check your choice before confirming your transformation. It's better to take an extra second than to pick the wrong hero and waste your ultimate. This ultimate is all about timing and picking the right moment to turn the fight in your team's favor. Laufeyson Reborn. Laufeyson Reborn is Loki's team-up ability with Hela. When you have a Hela on your team, this ability lets Loki either come back to life or get bonus health every time Hela gets a KO. You don't have to do anything special. Just having Hela on your team is enough. If your Hela teammate is doing well, you can play much more aggressively, since her kills will keep you alive or make you even tougher. This is a really strong team-up, so it's worth asking if anyone on your team plays Hela, or even switching to Loki if you notice your Hela is carrying the game.
I bet you can click on the next video before the time runs out. 3, 2, 1. You lose.